Hello everybody! Wow, our gem rock is right here. We have mail! Welcome back to another episode of Animal Crossing New Leaf. Welcome Amiibo from Sky! There's no bad person out there who likes plants. My intuition tells me you're very good at caring for living things, so I'm giving you this present. I mean, I'm sure there's quite a few bad people that don't like plants. Well, that like plants, I should say, but, you know. What we got? A white azalea start. I think I'm just gonna sell that, Sky. Like, I don't want to sound rude with that, but like, I don't know where I'd even put it. I also have like dry skin barely showing up in my eye. It's always fun when that happens. Trying to think of what I even ramble about today, because there's not much. Ooh, there's a rainbow. That's pretty cool. Rainbow. Okay. Monarch butterfly. Because, like, I suppose I could talk about my night last night. It could be something. Though there's not really much to talk about. This is I finally went for a walk for the first time in absolutely forever. My legs aren't terribly happy about that, but it was probably good for me to get out and go for a walk. Like, this is one of those things of, like, I'm so used to just going out for, like, walks every night, and then, like, I stopped doing it, and then it's like, oh yeah, that was kind of relaxing to do. So, I might start doing it more. I've also very much hit a case of, like, man, how does one make friends? Like, it's one of those things of, I'm trying to think of how to even say this without coming across as completely just depressing. But, like, I have been so long, like, having basically a fundraising initiative. Having basically, like, no friends to actually, like, hang out with. It's like, I don't even think I know what it's like to not feel lonely. Like, hello, Tia. Hello, Steven. You seem chipper as always. Do I? You trying to say I'm always depressed? Let's talk. I had a dream recently where you and I were chatting and drinking spiced chai at my house. It was so much fun. I'm sure it was my subconscious telling me I should invite you over, so would you like to come over to my place? Alright. Doesn't matter how decisive you are. There is not. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sure we can do it some other time. Little weird that the teacup elephant had a dream where we were having tea. I mean, I say that, but, like, I played Tulip. I've dealt with Leo. Tia's nothing. I still want to do a series on Tulip at some point. I'm just not sure exactly how I want to do it. Because, like, I have recorded, like, probably close to, like, a week's worth of episodes. And they're just, like, sitting on my computer. Because I'm like, I'm not sure about it. Hey, our pear tree has finally grown. And yes, we did not have pears, because I would remember that. Pears look weird. Pears are just kind of weird, though. Like, they're an apple, but not quite. And, like, it's really obvious that they're an apple, but not quite. This intense stream, the Sphinx fell to the sky and landed in Sapphire. And then Velma thought it was the most amazing thing that ever happened to our town. So you make our dream come true? It's all to you. Alright. I mean, I don't think a Sphinx really fits the town, but... what do I know? But yeah, it's literally been so long since I was out walking around that, like... there is a lot of spots where it's like, wow, that's, like, completely different from how I remember it. Like, there's just been so much, like, development around this town where it's just, like... I don't even recognize some of these places anymore because, like, they're so different. Like, I feel kind of bad for one instance of this because, like, basically there was one apartment building with, like, a pretty big parking lot. Looked like basically a parking space for each apartment. That looked really nice and convenient. Like, they've basically just ripped up that parking lot and are building a second apartment building there with now reduced parking. So that's gonna be fun for the people who live there. And, like, I love how... okay. The town I'm in has quite a few empty rental apartments. Like, quite a few. That nobody's renting because rent is just stupid expensive. Like, we're relatively in the middle of nowhere. They made each other sad. We're relatively in the middle of nowhere and, like, rent's like $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 a month to live in the middle of nowhere where you're probably making minimum wage. That's just not sustainable, so nobody's really renting. So the solution they have is to build more apartments, which will probably have the same sort of rent. Genius. Howdy, sisters. So you need something. What's the latest? Ah, look at you with your shovel. What are you trying to find? Fossils. Oh, I get ya. Yeah, you seem like you'd be good at that sort of thing. There's nothing like a muscle-bound dude when he's using a shovel. You should really play that up. Whatever you do, give it all you've got there, sister. Fuchsia's hitting on me, I think. Maybe? Question mark? I'm not very good at telling when people have flirted with me. Really wish these two weren't sad so I could, like, talk to them, but... where could this fossil be? This is probably the fossil I couldn't find yesterday. Ooh, birdwing. Money! Like, yeah, I don't understand. Like... It's literally a case of this new apartment building being built. From looking up its development permit online, is going to be a 40 apartment building. I honestly have a hard time believing that they can't make their money back and then some with a building like that charging $600 per month in rent. That is a lot of money still. Like, 600 times 40 is not nothing. Yeah. I very much have to imagine that they could easily make their money back and still be making a profit by just renting for about 600. And then lowering their rent price to that would probably end up lowering everybody's rent prices, because the other people trying to rent out in the area would have to compete with that price. Or else they would lose their renters to this big building that's being built. But I can almost guarantee it's going to have the same, at least $1,200 a month rent price. Which is, you know, quite a lot of money. Yeah, I cannot find this fossil. There's just a fossil in town somewhere. No idea where. Trying to watch for like around flowers and stuff, because I know I tend to miss it when it's around flowers, but I am not seeing a fossil anywhere. Suppose I wasn't directly into the corner behind Fuchsia's house. Maybe it's back here somewhere. Nope. I am not seeing this fossil. Like, at all. Anywhere. Hey, they're not sad anymore. Sup, punk? How's your afternoon, schmoopy? What's going on? Let's chat. Hey, I keep hearing people say you're totally a bell pincher. Jealousy, you're the center of attention. It's supposed to be my job. I mean, that's not exactly a great thing to be being called, so, you know. It's been pleasant today, hasn't it? I mean, a little bit. Wanna chat? Sure. Serious problem with the rocking chair in my home. It's not fitting in well. So she wants to replace the chair that stares at her bed. Okay. Why can I not find this fossil? I almost don't want to give up on looking for it today until I find it, but I'm not sure I can find it. Like, I have looked pretty much everywhere. And I don't know if fossils move when you, like, save and quit. So, like, I have no idea where it might be. Yeah, I would like my coffee today, Brewster. Not even sure how long today's episode's gonna be. Because, like, I kind of just want to go back to bed. I didn't exactly sleep the longest, so it would be nice to go back to bed. Yeah, I'm not exactly feeling the best today. Also, I know I'm a little low on the webcam. I can't be bothered to fix it. Oh. It's right here. I could swear it was not there before I went into Brewster's. I wonder if that's a thing, where fossils could roll to technically spawn under something, and then only, like, re-roll their spawn once you've, like, entered a building and come back out. Maybe that's what it is? I don't really know. Ugh, if I sit up, it kind of fixes it. Hey, Blathers. Blathery boy. There's some fossils to assess. I'm gonna move my microphone a little bit so I don't have to talk as loud. Nah, I'm good, Blathers. I gotta remember at some point this month I need to try to catch a scorpion. If I miss it, I miss it. That's how I'm gonna look at it, because I don't want to deal with tarantulas, and they spawn at the same time, so, you know. Yawning. I should do some ocean fishing. I mean, I would talk about, like, the World of Warships update, but doubt any of you really particularly care, so. I suppose I can give a bit of an update on the drunk driver incident. That update being, I'm pretty sure I didn't mention this yet anyway. If I have, it'll be some repeat information. He basically ended up hitting, like, the electrical stack coming into the house. So we had to have an electrician come look at it. Turns out the electrical panel for this house was an illegal installation. It's not up to code. It needs replaced. So that's fun. Things just keep adding up. The thing that to me is extra frustrating about that, though, is like, this was a foreclosure. Based on my understanding, and I could be wrong, but based on my understanding, before the bank could put this house up for sale, they would have had to have come in, cleaned it out, and had it safety inspected. Which would imply that a safety inspector looked at this electrical panel and went, yeah, that's fine. When apparently, the moment this electrician looked at it, he knew immediately it was wrong. Before he'd even opened it. He was like, nah, this is wrong. Because it's too close to the wall. For one. For two, apparently it's like 70 amp, built for 60 amps, and should be 100 amps or something like that. I don't remember everything he said. All I know is it's wrong. And that's going to cost a lot of money. My rough figuring in my head is that it's probably going to be close to $800 to $1,000 to get the electrical panel fixed. And whatever day he's here doing it, I'm basically just not going to have power that entire day. Which means I really hope... God damn, can I fish properly? I don't know if I'm mentally here enough to do this. Life is just too much lately. But, if I have enough warning, I'll still have something done. But, like, video-wise. But if I don't have enough of a heads up to, like, record an early morning episode where the stores aren't even open or something, you know, or maybe a really late night episode. Like, if I don't have... I could always do the really late night, I suppose, but, like, I'd prefer to do an early morning. That way I can make sure it's done and uploaded before, you know, the next day. Because it's It's not the easiest to deal with YouTube's scheduling because, like, at least once you've muscle memoried it, I've almost had episodes go up the wrong day because I've just done my, like, uploading a video is very much a lot of muscle memory at this point. Like, I write the description, I copy-paste the same, basically, text that's in every description, and then I set the game, add it to the whatever, you know, the relevant playlist, and then I go to the scheduling bit. And I basically just click 6 p.m. because it automatically defaults to the next day. So if you've uploaded a video at, say, 12:01 a.m., the next day is no longer the day your brain thinks the next day is. It's literally the day after. You know? So, yeah, I've almost had videos go up a day late because I was just muscle memorying and I uploaded after midnight. So, seems like the only thing I can catch today is horse mackerels. I need to think of something I can do to, like, try to get myself out of this funk. I might play some Star Ocean. Might go back to playing the PSX version that I started a playthrough of. Like, I need that nostalgia. I need the simpler times, you know? I do want to stream more often as well, but I'm not overly sure my computer is terribly happy streaming. I was seeing a lot of problems near the end of the stream I did a couple days ago. So, I don't know. I'm gonna try streaming another time or two. I might even try streaming yesterday for you guys, today for me. I don't know yet. It'll really depend on how I'm feeling. I mean, that might honestly be kind of the best thing I could do right now, but I know, like, I don't know if it would be a good idea for me to stream Warships, and that's kind of what I want to stream. Because I've already gotten very frustrated while playing that today because I'm just not mentally feeling the best, so my fuse is a lot shorter today than it normally would be. Like, normally I've got a pretty long fuse, but when I'm calling someone an effing idiot, yeah, in my very, like, I say very first, my second battle I played today, just maybe my fuse is a little short today. Just maybe. I suppose I can talk about something that is kind of relevant. And it's to do with computer hardware, so not exactly the game, but it's relevant to me being able to make videos and such. And that's like, there's a growing sentiment that, like, oh, people should have known that 12 gigabytes of VRAM wouldn't be enough for modern gaming and just should have avoided it and just bought more in the first place. It's like, okay, time out a moment. When I built my computer, at the price range I had, which, to be fair, was a pretty reasonable price range. Like, this computer was like $1,600 altogether. Building it myself. If I had bought this thing as a pre-built, it probably would have been over $2,000. This is Canadian dollars, so for Americans, that's probably closer to $1,400 I paid, but still, like, that's a fair chunk of money to spend on a computer. I could have, if I had chose a different case and paid more money for my case, so that I'd have one actually big enough to put a this GPU in it. I could have bought a better GPU with more VRAM. I could have. Would have had 16 gigabytes. I'd still be annoyed that 12 is seemingly not enough, because, let's be real, the next thing to go is going to be 16. But, at the price I spent, I spent about $400 Canadian for my 6700 XT. When you compare that to the other graphics cards that were available at the time, and even today, the 6700 XT is kind of just the best value. That's why I bought it. Because I wanted value. Darn it. Like, the alternatives, literally, the next cheapest alternative was another AMD option of the basically 6800 XT, which was almost double the price for not double the performance. Possibly double the longevity, I don't know yet. But it was almost double the price and still is. Well, I suppose it's not almost double the price. It's now only about a third more. But that's still a large chunk of money more. It's still debatably not worth it. But, like, there was someone actually trying to argue that, well, people should have just known 12 gigabytes wouldn't be enough. Like, for PCs, and I know I'm talking about this over a DS game, so a lot of you people probably don't care or even know much about PC stuff, and hey, that's fine. But there's a funny chart if you like numbers and want to know roughly what the average PC, gamer's PC at least, is like. It's called the Steam Hardware Survey. It's completely full of just lots of really cool numbers about computer specs. Some of the information on the Steam Hardware Survey is almost useless. Like, they don't list what CPUs people use, they just list core count. So, you know, there's a lot of people using 6-core CPUs. Are those 6-core CPUs from a decade ago? Are they modern 6 cores? We don't know. Because also, they just say a base frequency average, and I don't even know how Steam comes to their base frequency average. So, like, CPU information is worthless with the Steam Hardware Survey. But, we do know, for a fact, that 8 gigabytes of VRAM is the most common amount of VRAM to have by a landslide. It's something like 30-some% of Steam users have 8 gigabytes of VRAM, while the next closest is like 10%. If even that. I don't even remember. I know I just had it open very recently, so I can probably pull it right back up. Yeah, there it is. And the next, it's 35%, with the next highest being 18.5% of being 12 gigabytes. So between the two of those, well, 15 and 35, that's 50 right there. Add 3% more, you get 53%, so over a majority of PC gamers have 8 or 12 gigabytes of VRAM. See why it's so silly that game developers are developing their games requiring more than 8 gigabytes of VRAM? Or even 12? Hello, Tia. Hey, Steven, heard other folks calling you Majoress. I really like that name. Go ahead, Tia. I don't mind. Like, and it's the same as, like, people arguing, like, oh, but, you know, for 4K gaming. It's like, okay. 4K gaming. Let's see here. 2.29% of Steam users have a primary display that is 4K? .06% of Steam users have a display that is 720p. There are more Steam users with a primary display that is 720p. Let's see how 720p than 4K. Those 720p numbers are probably from Steam Decks. But 56.11% of Steam users have a 1080p display. 20% have 1440p. But not that many have 4K. Like, the most common graphics cards right now. Well, the top of the charts is the 3060. Based on it being 8 gigabytes being the most common amount of VRAM, that's probably a lot of the 8 gigabyte version. Given there is a large number of Chinese players, it's almost certainly the 8 gigabyte version because I'm pretty sure that's the version most readily available in China. Nothing against Chinese people, it's just how technology is. I feel so bad for anyone who's Chinese trying to buy technology. I'm also mildly jealous at times, but that's mostly because AMD likes releasing GRE versions of stuff, which are usually, like, cheaper. Not quite as good versions of something, but are quite a bit cheaper. Like, the 7900 GRE, I would have bought for my computer had I been able to back when I built my computer. It was a product back then. It just wasn't in the West. It was only in China. May as well work a little on Flower Path while I talk about this stuff. But, like, it's the 3060. The 4060 laptop GPU, which is an 8 gigabyte graphics card. Hey you, any interest in my fine modern wood wall? Bought a bunch of them by mistake. Alright, I can... That's expensive, but sure. Seems legit. Who am I to distrust fuchsia? But that right there makes up about 10% of all the graphics cards in use on Steam. Another roughly 4% is 1650s, which have 4 gigabytes of VRAM. I think 6 or 4. I don't remember at this exact moment. It's one or the other. It's not much. I think it's 6. Yeah, it's 6 gigabytes. Maybe. I could be wrong. I'm questioning my own sanity now. But either way, it's not much. Then there's the 4060 laptop GPU, which I'm pretty sure is 8 gigabytes, with another about 4%. 3.3% is the 3060 Ti at 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Like, this is why most people are on 8 gigabytes, is because, like, there's so many of these graphics cards that just are 8 gigabyte, or at least have an 8 gigabyte variation. Like, we get the 4060, which has an 8 gigabyte version. I think it only has an 8 gigabyte version. I think it's the 4060 Ti that has options of having a 16 gigabyte version. You get the 2060, which is a 6 gigabyte card. The 3070, which is 8 gigabyte. The 1060, which could be as low as 3 gigabytes. Like, this is why it's so silly to me that game developers are like, nah, we gotta use all the VRAM. We can't compress anything. We gotta use all the VRAM all the time. For reference, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, the 3DS, the system you're probably playing Animal Crossing on, has like 64 megabytes of RAM in total, which, given it has an integrated chip for its graphics, that means basically it has 64 megabytes of VRAM. Because that's what VRAM is. It's memory built right into the graphics card. Or graphics chip. So, like, you don't got much to work with on the 3DS. And yet things like this are fully possible. But also, if you look into the background, you can see pixelation in the sky. Even, like, on 3DS, you can, if you look close enough, you'll see the pixelation. It's more visible because I have a much bigger display with what I'm doing here than you guys would have on your actual systems. The lemon just be like that. So, like, that's why there's some little graphical quirks, is because my display is just bigger. But also, like, Nintendo knew what they were doing. Nintendo wasn't exactly lazy, and they got the most out of their hardware. It was great. It still is great. There's some impressively good-looking things on the 3DS. Especially for how limited the hardware was. Like, it's pretty good. But then you get PC gaming, where developers are just like, yeah, what's that? There's a graphics card with 24 gigs of VRAM. Better use, like, all of it. Because that makes sense. But that is going to be it for today. I thank you all very much for watching. And hopefully I shall see you back here tomorrow for more Animal Crossing New Leaf Welcome Amiibo. See you all then.